And one of the better games on the schedule is coming up this Saturday at Louisville. I don't know where you stand on Louisville in regards to an ACC rival. Of course, this was a non-division game, and now with the new format, it's going to be a game that Miami's going to see more on a regular basis. And Louisville, of course, I believe has one of the better coaches in college football that doesn't get as much recognition as he should. Led them to an ACC championship game last year. They've stumbled a couple times, uh, most recently against SMU. So if you had a chance to look at Louisville at all.
Yeah, a lot. And I agree with you, and I echo what you're saying. I think Coach Braun is unbelievable. I mean, what he's done wherever he's been with to me, he's one of the coaches that do the most with the least that are out there. And now, they're starting to get a little talent. They're starting to get a little talent over there. I am a little surprised when I went back and watched the tape, like how SMU was able to do what they did to them. That surprised me. I didn't see that one coming, to be honest. The Notre Dame game is Notre Dame. I think that the head coach there, the defense he runs is top notch. I could see them dropping that one, but the SMU one surprised me. But they had a good win against Virginia this past week, which Virginia was 4-1 in that game. I mean, it's still, I know it's not elite, but it's a team that's playing well, and they won that game. They're on a high. I am terrified anytime we play a Coach Braun team because he's going to be able to scheme against you for sure. But one of the things that's uncharacteristic about his team, there are a lot of penalties right now. They're having a lot of penalties, which usually you don't see that with his type of teams. And I think that their offensive line is not as good as they hoped they would be this year. And I think that's where the main issues are coming from because they have more talent than he's had last year, for sure. But that O-line is not the greatest. I'm worried because it's a team that is well coached and will take advantage of our weaknesses if we did not clean up our stuff in the bye week. I have a lot of respect for them. I do think that it'll be the best coached team that we play all year. And it's at 12 o'clock at their house. It's their homecoming game. They're going to want to take our head off. We're their Super Bowl right now. So I'm very, very concerned about this game, to be honest.
As you see, folks, on the banner there, Miami comes in as a 4.5-point favorite. Louisville lost its two top running backs, but they've more than replaced these two with Isaac Brown. He's tearing it up as a freshman, having a heck of a season. Tyler Shook, nobody that's ever watched him has ever knocked his talent. It's basically stay healthy, and this is his third stop. And, of course, this game came down to a goal line stand in the final minutes. Seconds last year at Hard Rock. So, and the way the way all these conferences stand now without the divisions, you really have to look at the schedule because I predicted the other day, and it's no outlandish prediction, but that one of these four conferences, if not more, are going to wind up with some ridiculous tiebreaker.
Oh yeah,
that's going to have to take place because shoot, let's say Louisville and SMU run the table the rest of the way, and then Miami's got a loss. Louisville already has a loss. Obviously, you've got the head-to-head, but if you've got multiple teams involved, Clemson as well, then that drops the head-to-head, and you go into all these common opponent scenarios. And, we could be going to championship games, conference championship games at the end of the year thinking – those really the two best teams. We would really like to see them, but they got knocked out by some fifth tiebreaker.
Yeah, you're doing what we're all doing, right? We're trying to figure out how this is going to play out. And I mean, I don't even want to get into the Big 12. We'll just stay in the ACC. That's a whole other that's a whole other planet. What's going on over there? But I think SMU they don't really have anyone that they can't beat on the rest on their schedule, right? And that's concerning to me. I think Clemson is probably playing the best out of anybody in the ACC currently. Ever since that, Georgia put the boom on them in the second half of that game, in the first game of the year, they've played some really good football. Their quarterback is 17 touchdowns with 2 interceptions right now. Like, are you kidding me? I didn't even know that until I looked it up earlier this week. But going back to what we talking about Louisville, their record is tricky, because if you watch their games, they could easily be 5-1, but at the same time, they also could have another loss on that they don't have currently. So they've benefited from, in my opinion, a lot of balance. There's a lot of balance going on, and I don't like it. I don't like balance. I don't want to have a tiebreaker. I wish we could just go, well, let's go play and find out, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I want to go back to the running back situation and the quarterback situation. We'll talk about Louisville. That running back's from right here. He is very salty with us because we didn't recruit him. He's a true freshman. That dude Brown is like the real deal. Last week was the first time he got a bunch of carries, and look what he did. And then they have our transfer that's from our backyard, which is also Chaney. We know them well, and the quarterback played for Mario before and won a conference championship with Mario before. So we're very aware of what they have. I just think that they need an offensive line, and I think that's going to be the key to the game. If their offensive line can hold up, it'll be an interesting game. I'm very not happy about that because their coaches to me is really good. But I don't know if the offensive line holds. Going back to what you said, the 6-0 and the 4-2, and then what is SMU going to do, and what's the tiebreakers? They need to change this to make it much easier at some point. This is too much of it could be, should be, would be. I think Florida State is still crying that they didn't get into the thing last year. It's just insane what's going on right now. And the Big 12 is going to be worse, brother. It's going to be worse.
And as you know, Flo, what's going on in the ACC and the Big 12? And yes, the Big 12 should be worse. The Big 12 and the ACC, it's more critical because, hey, if you get left out of the Big 10 championship game, the SEC championship game, hey, we'll see you in the playoff. No issues. But the Big 12 is going to be a one-bid league. The ACC probably will see maybe Clemson. Maybe Miami goes undefeated, then they lose the ACC championship game, they still get in. So there are more two-bid opportunities for the ACC. But yeah, we are going to see, unless things are addressed, a team, it may not be this year, in one of those two leagues where they should have been able to play themselves into the playoff, but they didn't get the opportunity based on a tiebreaker.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. I mean, you're preaching because anybody that watches football as much as we do know that this is coming 100%. I just don't know which conference it's going to get. One of these conferences are going to get screwed. I mean, is it screwed though? I mean, I don't, I can go back and forth with that. I see it. I can see SMU running the table. I can see Clemson winning out. And I can, what happens if SMU wins all the rest of their games? Clemson, and then us. Who goes to the ACC? I mean, we go to the ACC. We're undefeated, right? Clemson has got a loss. SMU's got a loss. Who goes? Because they don't play each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and then whoever's out has a beef. We only have one loss, and we're not even in the ACC championship. And I'm telling you, Mark, I hope I can do your show later on in the season. I see that a very realistic. I mean, SMU's got to play bad because they're going to be favored in all the rest of their games. Clemson's going to be favored in all the rest of their games. We should be favored in all the rest of our games. So, I mean, it's not going to play out that way. Someone's going to get boomed on.
Yeah. Most likely. See, to the people that say it always takes care of it itself, I understand why they say that. And I'm not discounting that most of the time it takes care of itself. It won't every time, and it hasn't every time. We can go to the college football playoff 4-team run of 10 years, and I can give you seasons in which it didn't. Yeah, it played itself out because there was a decision made. Yeah, it's going to play itself out. Like it's not an issue because there's a decision made. It's almost like if you've got $100,000 in credit card debt, yeah, don't worry about it. It's going to play itself out. Yeah, it's going to play itself out. Somebody's going to make a decision.
Someone's going to make a decision.
What has to be done.
That's funny.
You can't say it always plays itself out. And all you have to do the math, and you already know this because you're deep into this like I am, that the larger the leagues get, the less teams play each other. So if you've got a 17-team league and you're only playing 8 conference games, you're missing 8. You're playing 8, you're missing 8.
Yes.
And you have more of a likelihood that teams that should be playing each other to decide the championship won't play each other. And that's where you get this strange, and then the schedules become more and more when you've got a Pac-12 back in the day that had a 9-game league and they had 12 teams. And so you had 11 opponents and you only missed 2 and you're playing 9. Well, the schedules are almost, you may get a little lucky because you miss SC or
Right.
Oregon or whomever, but these schedule, Rutgers
Mm,
doesn't play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State,
right.
Iowa, Oregon. They don't play
Yep.
the 5 best teams in the conference.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You're saying that in my notes that I wrote last week was they're the SMU of your conference because SMU has the cakewalk.
They do.
Like, and I was like, oh my God, Rutgers is, they're squeaking by they're, and then Wisconsin comes and goes, no, you don't. Boom, and smacks them in the head. And you never saw that coming.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't see it like that. I didn't
I
see that
didn't
was
either.
gonna happen, but like you said, it kind of plays out most of the time. But what if now they run the table and they have one loss, in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's got, in my opinion, them and the SEC are by far the deepest conferences. You have a good point. I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of guys that come on your show and lose their mind because I don't know how you fix it anymore. The way, I just don't know how you fix it anymore. I'm an old school guy, and it's just so, to me, it's just going in so fast in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. I know that there were seasons in the ACC Coastal where, with about 3 weeks left, it was like, wow,
Yep.
there could be like 6 teams line up at 4-4 or something, but it never happened. It was just fun to
Correct.
look at, but it
Yeah.
never happened. And the division races, for as bad as the Coastal was for a long, long time, for as bad as the Big Ten West was for a long, long time, at least there was clarity. There was,
Mm,
okay, you won the division. And if you
facts.
didn't have the best record, you tied. Well, you two played. You always played. So that decided
There
it.
you go.
There you
Right.
go.
No, I'm with you.
And a three-way tie, I'd have to go through each season, almost never happened.
No, it doesn't. I mean, look, again, I think it's worse in the Big 12 in the way that's shaping out
Mhm.
already. But you have Pitt, who's undefeated. SMU's got, I think they're undefeated in conference play. So is Clemson. So are we. Like, I just, it's gonna get interesting really quick. But like, we might come on in 3 or 4 weeks and talk again and be like, see, now there's only 2 of them. Like it could easily go that way.
No doubt. Well, Flo, first of all, to answer your first question, of course, you're always going to be welcome here. We appreciate you stopping by to break things down
Appreciate that.
for us, and absolutely, we'll get together here soon. Enjoy the ball game this weekend,
Thank you.
and yeah, we will get together soon. Appreciate it, and everybody check out Miami Flow right here on YouTube, and you get the X/Twitter handle there to lock in on everything he's got going on. All right, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
Thanks
game.
for having me on. Appreciate it. Have a good one, big brother.